What? Because, bro.
Yo, salute. I did you like that on purpose. Salute to everybody. We are back. Let's get it. Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. You guys know what time it is. Welcome to the latest installment of the Graphk and Wasted Show.
Or the Wasted Graphk Show, whichever way you like to slice it, man. God, it's been like a month, bro.
My brother, it's been way too long. Real quick, salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, make sure you guys wipe them feet, pay your bar tabs, hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. We are back. Yes, it's been many moons, but guess what, man? We back like we never left. You know what I mean? So my brother Wasted, man. How you feeling, man?
Feel good, man. It's a whole lot going on in NFL, bro. So man, you know how it is, bro. Like we slow motion means there's no motion out there. If there's any motion, we out there doing our thing. So if you don't see us going live, it is dead in the water. There is no motion. But guess what? It's something today, baby. We got it rocking and rolling.
Oh, yeah. Behind the scenes, we've been taking meetings and all kind of other stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on, and we'll keep you guys updated very, very soon with all the stuff.
We'll keep them abreast.
Yes, baby. Zoom. A lot to talk about today. You guys see the thumbnail put together by yours truly, Wasted Talent. We're going to talk about the Jalen Ramsey pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Sure.
Minkah Fitzpatrick returning back to Miami. We're also going to talk about the Michael Mayer situation. And to be real with you, we're going to start with some Raider stuff. So early on, and we'll kind of go in and out of both at the same. It kind of makes sense, right? They all intertwine. So earlier, and this comes from the Pittsburgh Steelers Twitter account, we have agreed to acquire cornerback Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, in a 2027 7th-round pick from the Miami Dolphins in exchange for safety Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick, pending physicals. So right when all this was going on, Wasted, I know you were, at work and doing your thing. Some people out there that cover the Miami Dolphins started coming out and saying, well, Miami's now in the market for a tight end. And one of their own, I believe he works for the Miami Herald? Omar Kelly went on Twitter and said, Miami has had their eye on Raider tight end Michael Mayer for a while. He's had some on and off the field challenges with the Raiders, but he's slated to make $1.6 million in 2025 and $2 million in 2026. Dolphins are also shopping for cornerback help. So they're trying to fill that void with Jalen Ramsey heading out to Pittsburgh. So it looks as though Miami's in the market now for a tight end, which, as funny as it is, you just got rid of a Pro Bowl tight end in Jonnu Smith. Such a Miami Dolphins move. It doesn't really make any sense to me that you would move him. He signed a 1-year, $12 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he wanted to remain a Dolphin. Like, he wanted to stay in Miami, Wasted, and now
he's a young player. He's only been in the league like 2 years. He's going to his 3rd year.
So, no, Jonnu's been around for a little longer.
How long has Jonnu been around?
29. He's 29.
He's 28, right? Isn't he 28?
29, I believe.
Well, because he's born in August 22nd, 1995. So but be that as it may, right?
30 this year. So,
but be that as it may, he's been around for a while. I'm tweaking. I forgot he was on the Titans, but this is a guy, man, who had 88 receptions last year, almost 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah,
this is not a guy I move. I'm very, very surprised that they would do something like this, man.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think that they were trying to have him take a pay cut down there, and then goes to Pittsburgh, so on and so forth. But once again, you have a 29-year-old Pro Bowl tight end who wants to remain in Miami, and now you're kind of going out there and looking. It sounds as though they contacted the Atlanta Falcons for Kyle Pitts as well. I don't know why Atlanta. I know that hasn't truly materialized out there. We thought that he could be a generational type tight end coming out of Florida, but they made the call there. But it's weird to me. But I'm gonna say that to say this. I'm still sticking to my take, Wasted, and I want yours on this. I'm not moving Michael Mayer. I've heard great things, from camp. All the coaches have praised him. Chip Kelly, our head coach Pete Carroll. Everyone has had really high praise for this kid. He's back, mentally prepared to go. He's your traditional tight end opposite of Brock Bowers, who's a Swiss Army knife. He's still young on a rookie deal. I mean, unless you can get a second-round pick, if you can get the pick back that you moved up to get him for, okay. But I don't see them moving to go get a third or a fourth-round pick. Even Vinny B just put out a tweet that said that, I forgot what he said exactly, but he was like, the Raiders like what they're doing with both these tight ends.
Yeah, you're not moving a major part of the direction you're going this year. Like when you start talking about the Raiders, a lot of the issues with the Raiders, especially on the offensive side of the football, is depth. Like that's the one thing. Like we have a pretty decent roster, but the thing that separates the Raiders from like the top crust of the league is having, a top 5 kind of quarterback and depth. We have some pretty decent frontline talent. But Michael Mayer represents the depth on his team, especially when you start talking about from an offensive perspective, right? Because you have a lot of unproven commodities on the wide receiver end. And I think, when you start talking about moving the football, throwing the ball across the middle of the field, moving the chains, Michael Mayer is a chain mover, bro.
Yes.
He's a blocker. He's a guy that's integral to the running game.
Yes.
Look, this is not a move I make unless I get premium draft compensation or like I'm throwing it in to move and bring in a guy like a Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, exactly. Or, look, we don't know what's going on with Christian Wilkins, potentially maybe a defensive tackle, a defensive lineman. I don't know, but I don't think that it makes sense. Once again, Mayer is on a very inexpensive rookie deal as well. Omar talked about, look at this. Wasted 1.6 this year. That's nothing. It's $2 million in 2026. You don't move on from a guy that it looks as though they are really, really high on in this offense. And I'm gonna read this Vinny B tweet as well because he had a thought with this. The Raiders have he just put it out. The Raiders have no interest in trading Michael Mayer. So this is 4 minutes ago. So he must have spoke to somebody out there. Take this as you may, you guys. I know some people believe in what Vinny B says. Some people don't. But he just put it out there because Pro Football Talk said Michael Mayer is one of the tight ends the Dolphins have interest in. Vinny B retweeted it immediately, said the Raiders have no interest in trading Michael Mayer. He also went on to say he's a talented player on a rookie contract who can help the Raiders win right now. Unless someone blows them out the water, I doubt very seriously they're interested in helping another by handing them a good young player. That was 45 minutes ago. And then he went on to say anything less than a third would be a non-starter. He's worth more than that to the Raiders this year than a future 4th round pick or below. That was an hour ago. And then he went on to say the Raiders have a big plans for their tight end, Michael Mayer. He's a big part of their plans. But if the Dolphins make a legitimate offer, and this was an hour ago, you'd have to at least consider it. But it looks as though if Vinny B is, hearing something.
If he's correct, then that makes sense to me. Now, listen, does Miami want to move Minkah? You want to move Minkah? Look, man, you want to do the bait and switch? Like what you want to do here? Because unless you're doing that, I'm not listening to you. There's nothing on that roster that I want.
Hey, look, man, you mean to tell me
Stranger things have happened, right?
You mean to tell me we could get what a 5-time All-Pro safety, 28 years old? Like,
yeah,
I would love it. I would love it.
And you know what? Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers got worked in that deal.
Yes,
they got worked. Yes. They got worked. I'm sorry.
But you know what, though? Wasted. This is, once again, Tomlin feeling the heat. Their GM feeling the heat. Omar Khan. Those guys are feeling the heat. They're going all in. DK, Aaron, Jalen. I just thought when I seen the Minkah, I'm thinking you're adding Jalen because you have Minkah in the building. You know what I mean? And maybe they were just trying to get off that contract, to kind of make the money match a little bit more because they gave Jalen a extra bump in pay as well. I think like an additional 1.6 mil, something like that along those lines. So I thought, man, you're going to add him to that secondary. This is going to be mean. Miami, man, they stole Minkah out there.
Yeah, but you know the crazy thing about all of this is just, you know, what is this saying about what's going on in that building in Pittsburgh? Because there are so many, you know, front line kind of talents that have kind of wanted out of there.
Yeah.
You know, and look, I'm as big a supporter of Mike Tomlin as anybody. You know, I've always felt like Mike Tomlin hasn't gotten enough of the credit for how good that they've done. I think that, you know, people have said, oh, well, he had Tomlin's team, which I think is kind of bogus. You know what I mean? Like, if you come out there and you go to 2 Super Bowls and you win one, you're a damn good coach, right? If you never missed the playoffs, you're a damn good coach. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, you got to wonder what's going on in Pittsburgh, right? Because they're willing to bring people from outside of the building and pay them, but then they're not paying people in the building.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself why that is, right? But this is the funny thing. They can keep that right down the street. I'm not trying to help anybody in the AFC Central. I'm not trying to help anybody in the AFC East. I'm not trying to help anybody in the AFC South, and definitely not the AFC West. F every single one of them, bro.
You know, it's funny because I seen something on Twitter about George Pickens, and this is what he put on his Instagram. He shared a picture of Minkah Fitzpatrick in his stories, and he said, super happy for you, broski. Back to beautiful places in life. Laugh out loud. So that was a dig at Pittsburgh and that organization, and I believe the city as well. Because honestly, you guys, who would rather live in Pittsburgh than Miami?
Hey, look, you know, I always call it Shittsburg. Nobody wants to be there. No, it is just Pennsylvania as a whole, right? You know, like Philly is cool.
Love Philly.
When you start talking about like Harrisburg and you know out that way going towards Ohio, the heartland of America. For guys like us, right?
The heartland of America.
For guys like that, that's why, like, when y'all be going out to Indianapolis, yo, Graphk would tell you, oh, wait, so we going to, I'm like, you going to Indianapolis. I'm not, bro. Listen, I am not going to Indianapolis, bro. I am from New Jersey, bro. I don't rock like that, bro. I'm not going out there and hey,
you just bougie. I'm from California, bro. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but bro, you moved to Texas and went full old man Logan. You in the rocking chair, smoking cigars.
I'm waiting on some boots. I gotta get my cowboy boots.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. You on a different kind of time than me, bro. Like, I can't listen, bro. If there's not like a bodega or 7-Eleven 5 minutes away, I don't really want to be there, bro. I'm just being real with you. Anytime it's like, yo, we going to LA, we going to Vegas. All right, what's up? Let's go.
Yeah.
People start talking about we going to Green Bay, and I'm like, no, Graphk, you will be going to Green Bay. I will not be there.
Yeah, we could not. There was nothing, you guys, that we could do to talk wasted into going to the Green Bay for the draft. It was nasty work. Salute to Holy Moly Donuts on a $10 smackaroonie. It's been too long. Need that content. Yes. Raiders need to start paying you for keeping the fans entertained during the offseason, man. Salute to my guy, Holy Moly. Appreciate you on a $10 special, my guy. Salute also to the chat as well. We're gonna have some fun, you guys. Real quick, man. We haven't done our show in at least a few weeks, so we wanted to do more of a Q&A, talk a little bit about this Jalen Ramsey. We're not done. We're still gonna talk a little bit more about this. We can even get into the NBA trade deadline. That's about 15 minutes away. We're gonna talk everything today, you guys. This is a members only without it being a members only, okay? Because guess what? We talk behind the scenes and we just said, man, we miss y'all. We haven't done this in a long time with both of us on screen together. So why not get y'all involved in the chat as much as possible? So get those questions in and let's have some fun. But I'm gonna say this. I agree with you. I think Miami won that trade. They get a 5th round pick. Also down the line, they pretty much swap late round picks. Yeah. But I think Miami getting out those contracts definitely helped their cause. I don't really know what Pittsburgh, I know they're trying to go all in, but they got Pat out there at the tight end position to add Jones.
Prior move.
Yeah, I think they could have. I think what they needed to do was add another wide receiver. And maybe they still do. I thought maybe Amari Cooper would have been a better move than bringing in a Jonnu, Smith, but I could be wrong, right? I mean, hey, Aaron is probably going to go end up getting one of his guys. Randall Cobb at 94 will probably be a Steeler this year. You know what I mean? Or Alan Lazard. One of these guys are going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler at some point. But salute to Raider Profit. We need not to look to reach beyond our own fences until we sign and extend key players already on our roster. Salute to my guy. I appreciate you, Raider Profit. And I agree. We got Colton, we got Jacoby, we got Daniel Carlson, a few guys that are looking for a payday, and all of them rightfully so deserve that extension. So I hear you. But if you can make this team better leading into training camp, You got to make those calls. You got to turn around every route. There's a reason why Philadelphia has Howie Roseman is nonstop. He never stops.
But see, I disagree though, bro. I got push back on you real quick. I mean,
here we go. It ain't a Graphk and wasted or a wasted and Graphk show without this motherfucker. You're wrong, Graphk.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I tend to feel like you gotta crawl before you walk. Like, we haven't established anything here yet, right? Now, say for instance, next year the Raiders are like 500. And they're a good football team. They're in the playoffs, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they feel like they want to kind of extend beyond their fence and bring somebody in and try to improve the roster to make a run for it. Cool, right? But when you start taking swings like that before you shore up the foundation of this team, I don't think it's a good metric. I don't think the Raiders are ready to make a big free agent move. I think, just by virtue of what happened with Christian Wilkins, right? That's something that's going to burn the Raiders in a sense, right? Because he might play this year, he might not, right? But he is not what he was when he came here. And the Raiders went out and did it the right way. They drafted 2 young defensive tackles. They already got Adam Butler, a young guy on a very team-friendly deal. So you have the nucleus of that defense.
Lalu, other young guys that you can,
And even with Lalu and all of them guys, right? Those are guys that are depth pieces that you could just keep rolling, right? Mm-hmm. I think the Raiders need to really see what they have in the building first before they start reaching and trying to make big swings with bigger contracts. Because look, you can make that big contract swing, and then you might put yourself in a position where you price yourself out of signing your left tackle. Yeah. We got some major guys here. I think one of the things the Raiders have always made a mistake doing, like we talked about the Terry McLaurin thing. We've been talking about it ad nauseum, right? That's not a move the Raiders need to make. If you feel like you need to get a wide receiver, keep the guy who didn't drop a pass for you last year in the building. How about that?
That makes sense. Agreed.
So that's just how I see it,
Yeah. Salute to the chat. Also, I wanted to do this real quick. I told Wasted off screen, me and Hammer kind of butchered a portion of our show earlier this morning. We did our 53-man projections, you guys, and I want to put this out there. We did not take into account Daniel Carlson, Cole, and our long snapper as well. So I wanted to say that 3 players would have to be removed off this. Let me ask you, Wasted, because I want to get you involved with this as well. If you had to name 3 players that we have on this list, because I already have my 3, to get back to that 53, because you have to add our special teams guys. I'm going to take Sam Webb off at the corner position. I'm probably going to take one of Lalu or Leki Fotu. I think Fotu is going to be a great run stopper for us at the defensive tackle position. If we're lucky, maybe you can find a way to stash Lalu again, on the practice squad. I'd probably get Lalu, and I know that's probably not going to be a popular take in Raider Nation, but somebody has to go, and then I'd probably get rid of Charles Snowden. I'd rather have Ja Joyner on the active roster, me personally, a young guy that I have high hopes for. So there you have it. So those are the 3 that I had to take off in order to put our special teams guys on. So what do you think about that?
I hate getting into. That's why I don't really do a lot of these, because we don't know. I haven't seen a lot of these guys with pads yet before I can make that determination. But just sight unseen, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, Kyle Phillips is a guy that a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for. He hasn't really played a whole lot, and
there was some injuries, but he's a versatile guy, special teams guy.
Yeah, he's special teams, but he'd probably be a guy that wouldn't be on my roster.
Okay, so you're gonna carry 5? You carry 5 receivers?
Yeah. As of right now, right? I probably would get rid of Dylan Labe.
You can add Zachary Franklin on there too, or one of those.
I'm kind of leaving room for Zachary Franklin because he's so big and physically talented. I would think that they would probably go that direction. Then Dylan Labe is a guy that if he doesn't make the special teams as a kick returner, I think that his days are numbered with the Raiders.
So do you add Zeus to the mix though? Do you have him?
Yeah, I will probably have Zeus to them. It all depends on. I think Labe kind of makes sense. I think he's going to go the direction of Brian Westbrook. Brian Westbrook back in the days with the Eagles.
Bread and butter special teams.
Yeah, his bread and butter was special teams. And as he got bigger and was in the league longer, he was an integral part. He was the number 1 running back after a while. But I think he would probably have to kind of make it on special teams to get the prerequisite touches that he needs, because we just drafted a guy. We're paying a guy $8 million as a rookie. He's going to get the lion's share of the tackles.
No, for sure. And ESPN has Dylan second on the depth chart in terms of returning kicks behind Tommy Touchdown. So they have our 6th round guy being the guy that's gonna be out there returning kicks.
Tommy Millott is a guy that I think a little bit, I think what we do is we fall in love with the comparison and not with the actual players. Now the comparison is that he could be Julian Edelman, right? He was drafted, but Tommy Millott is a guy that I don't see many other teams taking a chance on in that kind of form. So if Tommy Millott he's a guy that I can see being put on a practice squad, if I'm being honest.
Got you. Salute to Omni. Raiders need to have their players develop. I agree. Not always trade for talent. Think SpyTech is trying to get out of cap hell, and free agents usually mean that following the first year. Well, this is the thing. We're not in cap hell at all. We're in top 5, top 6 right now in cap. The next 2 years, we're at the top of the league in terms of salary cap. So we're not in cap. We're not anywhere near hell in terms of salary cap, Omni. But I agree with you in the sense that we have to develop our guys. SpyTech had a great draft on paper. The thing is this. I think that Pete understands the philosophy behind you have to have those 2nd and 3rd year guys develop. This is the year. You need Tyree. You need Trey Tucker. You need Ja'Cory Bennett. You need those guys to translate regardless if you drafted them or not. Those are the guys that you have to figure out now because guess what? They're going to be in for a payday soon. Are you going to keep them around? Are you going to move them? That is what you need to do. That's what takes very talented GMs and very talented head coaches also wasted is being able to unlock players that they had no hands in drafting. And Pete Carroll has done it before. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I've seen him do some magical things in Seattle. You know what I mean? But
I mean, if you're a winning program, that's what you do. Like this whole thing, you want to know when I know that a new regime is going to fail when they come in and they move people just for the sake of moving them because it's not their guys.
Like Gruden,
like Josh
Mari Cooper. Yes.
When you do that and you don't really look at what you have and you just move people for the sake of moving them, that's a bad organization. And they're starting off wrong. So I'm going to move a guy who's productive and try to bring in another guy that's productive and pray that he's as productive just because I didn't have a hand in drafting him. Yeah. That's ego before the actual product, right? So it's like for me now, I'm looking at what Pete and them are doing and I'm saying great. But this is the one thing I will say about our salary cap situation. We probably have the #1 amount of salary cap space in professional football if we didn't have so much dead money in some bad contracts.
Yes.
So I think John Spytek is kind of looking out for that prism as well, like the Devontae Adams stuff and all of those kind of deals. So and then also you're going to have a situation where you got to make a decision on 2 premium positions. You got to make a decision on your defensive end, right? So how good is this kid? Are you going to let him walk out of the door and go and be productive and great somewhere else? Because that's happened a million times to the Raiders. And that's something I don't want to see happen here.
The thing was they did a little bit of both in the offseason, right? They extended Max Crosby immediately. They brought back Malcolm Kuntz on a 1-year deal. They brought back Adam Butler. They let Nate Hobbs walk and get all that money. And all these other guys, Trayvon Merrick, Robert Spillane, they got a ton of money. Those guys walk, and then Pete goes and gets his guy Geno for a 3rd-round pick. So it's kind of been a mixed bag in the sense of they were taking care of guys that were here before, allowing other guys to walk in free agency and going to get a couple of their own guys, in which it makes total sense. I mean, I don't want to say that a couple because they did bring Shaq Griffin in. He ended up going back to Seattle, but they brought him in for a meeting to see if we can use him as a depth piece out there at the cornerback position. But I think they're doing it the right way. And you hit the nail on the head right there. Wasted is a ton of dead cap from previous regimes. That Devontae contract, a ton of these other guys' contracts. SpyTech has been able to maneuver thus far. That's another reason why you guys didn't go out there and massively overpay some of these free agents in a not so good free agency period. So I think that SpyTech did wonders with what he had, and he brought in the right pieces this offseason. It might not have been the most sexiest picks, but he did it the right way. And moving forward, he's not putting us in purgatory or salary cap hell for the next few seasons. We'll have a ton of money and we'll be able to operate. I like next year's free agency, and then I like the one even better after that. So we'll have all the money in the world to be able to move around and make some things happen. Salute the space. Go ahead.
And also, when you're actually in a position to do it, like you don't win the offseason by just putting a bunch of pieces together. Like you don't win in one season. You lay the foundation, you get to the playoffs, and you're like, all right, we're here. We're a good team. We got faith in the program. Then you go out there and you cast your net to bring in good players because they're a part of a winning. I just have always had an issue with going out and just having this amalgamation of talent and not establishing the culture. You got to establish the culture here first. So when they come into the building, they're like, yo, this is what it means to be a Raider. This is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. And I don't think that they've done that and laid that down yet.
And New England did that this year. They did what the Raiders did when they went out and got Littleton, made him one of the highest paid linebackers. LaMarcus Joyner, Trent Brown, that year where we spent a ton of money, John Gruden, to bring in these guys, hoping that they would help turn this thing around. New England spent a ton of money bringing in the likes of Milton and Spillane and a bunch of guys. And Spill, great football player. I'm not saying that he isn't, but they paid him like he's a top 5 linebacker in football. You know, and Trayvon Merrick got paid like a top 5 safety in football. So once again, kudos to our GM for not going out there in year one and trying to make a statement in free agency and overpaying someone that didn't deserve it. They did the right things. And I think that we're on to something here, you guys. I think we're on to something. Salute the Space Beast, Wasted and Graphk show. What he said, Waffle House special? Waffle House special?
Yeah, I guess, man. He spelled it phonetically.
Salute to Space Beast and phonetically spelling shit. Salute to Spivey, Wasted. Lots of folks here probably didn't hear the great news about your daughter. Be the proud papa.
Appreciate that, Spy. Look, man, I'm telling you, I've been so proud of my kids, both of them, that I don't even know what to say, man. I just almost feel like, man, I feel like, man, I've been so blessed, bro. I can't even mean to tell you. And I can tell you something too, real quick, man. I like to say rest in peace to my daughter's friend.
Yes.
I don't want to say her name, but she she passed away.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, man. She's domestic violence, and it's just sad, man. Young girl got shot, and rest in peace. I don't want to say her name.
Yeah. No need for it, man. No need.
But yeah, Ray, it was been on my mind though, man. It's crazy, man. So like, all the great things my kids are doing, I just feel blessed that they're here, they're healthy, and that they're moving forward, man. Yeah,
facts, man. Salute to Loso, and once again, rest in paradise to Shorty, man. You hate to see it. Developing talent is how you win championships. This is facts, Loso. I mean, look at those teams that Seattle put together. Pete Carroll helped build that thing. Remember what USC looked like before Carroll got his hands on it? He went out there and brought in some of the best talent in the world and turned that thing around with Reggie Bush and Leinart and company. That's what these great coaches do. You watch Harbaugh go out there to Michigan and change that program. Even in year one, got the Chargers looking way different than what they've looked like in recent history. So, hey man, that's what happens. You gotta be able to develop talent. And, I think that the reason for us, I have this optimism this year is because I think they drafted really well this year, but I also think that Pete is going to be able to work wonders with the likes of a Jacorian Bennett, a DeCam Richardson, and those type of guys, and hopefully a Trey Taylor. We had high hopes with him in the 7th round coming out of Air Force. Hopefully that he can get his hands and help mold those guys in year 2, year 3, and get them right. So I'm excited. And real quick, there was another one I wanted to bring up. Once again, man, salute to everybody here in the building.
Yeah, man, this is amazing, bro. Like, I tell you what, man, it's nothing better than talking Raider ball, man.
Yeah,
it ain't nothing better than it, bro.
No, not at all, man. Jason Downs, my guy. I am done with overpriced splash free agents. Develop our own, make a core franchise with just main ingredients. QB is a must next year. Salute to my guy. And you know what's funny, Jason? In recent memory, it hasn't worked out for us at all. I mean, we made a trade for Devontae. That didn't work. I know it's not necessarily a free agency pickup, right? But it didn't work out. Christian Wilkins up to this point, a freak accident hasn't worked. And I can go back again, like the Joiners, the Littletons, the Trent Browns. When we go spend all this big money in free agency, for the Raiders at least, it seems like it never
hasn't worked in the history of our fandom.
No.
What's messing with that? It hasn't worked.
No.
But even the teams in the early 80s, when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
Those teams, there was no free agency back then. There was no free agency, right? So we can't even talk to that. But most of those players were guys that were brought in by Al through the draft.
Yeah.
Marcus Allen was drafted. You had like some guys that were brought in off the market and like guys like Plunkett and guys like that. But most of those guys were drafted, man.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you show me a team that's a winning football team, and I'll show you a team that has minimal free agent action in their starting lineup.
Yeah.
Like if you can go to the Ravens of the Ray Lewis Ravens. All those guys were drafted.
Well, they're now.
Jonathan Ogden, Peter Boulware. All those guys were drafted, and even up to the Ed Reed years and stuff. Those guys were drafted, bro. Even
go to Philly now. Outside of Saquon Barkley, I mean, they went out and they made all the right moves to the draft.
Just drafting. And look, when you start talking about us, this is the problem. We want the shiny object before we pay the electric bill, before we pay the mortgage, before we pay the homeowner's insurance. Yeah. You before you buy the PS5, you got to make sure you got dishes in your house. You got to make sure you got a couch, all of that stuff. That's the problem with the Raiders. We want to go and get Devontae Adams, right, and bring him into a rickety-ass house. Yeah. And that's not how it works, bro. You have to do what's right more than what's popular. And a lot of these younger fans have never even seen us win before.
Well, let me say this too. That was Devontae's fault for getting himself put in the direction to go to the Raiders. That was his call.
Yeah. He tried to force his way there, but you don't have to be receptive to it. No, as an organization. Jalen Ramsey wanted to come here. Pete said, "Look, no. Listen, we don't need this guy. Yeah. We went out there, we drafted." Young players. I've won with young players. It is what it is. Even with the Legion of Boom, them guys were drafted. He started Sherm as a rookie, bro.
Yeah, he was cooking.
He started Sherm as a rookie.
Darian Porter 2.0, baby.
Look, he started Reek Woolen as a rookie. Yep. Reek Woolen balled out as a rookie,
best year of his young career.
You go and bring in young players, bro, and develop them. They're the most healthy they're ever going to be, and they're the cheapest they're ever going to be. It just makes sense to do it that way.
Hey, Rick, this is the thing, bro. You know what's funny, man? First of all, he's not going to take a pay cut. We restructured him, right? Didn't we restructure Christian Wilkins? I could have swore we restructured him. Was it when was it?
Last year.
We restructured him last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
But either way, I have this nagging suspicion, Rick, and I put it on Twitter. I put it on Instagram. You guys remember when Kevin Nash was in that wheelchair and he popped the blanket up and it was a fake. It was a fake cast. Yeah. It's a fake cast. Christian Wilkins is going to do that at training camp. Mark my words, y'all. Fuck it. It's the time for hot takes. This is the time, right? It's the down time of the season. He is going to Kevin Nash his way onto the football field in Henderson, Nevada. Come training camp, he's going to pull the blanket, and that cast is going to be fake as all get up, man.
Either way, right? That'll be dope. But the problem is he hasn't played a meaningful snap since almost last year.
Agreed.
So even if he does play, I don't think you're going to get the same guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same guy, right? So look, man, at the end of the day, the Christian Wilkins thing is a great thing, right? Mm-hmm. But for Christian Wilkins to be a thing in the future, he's going to have to come in and have at least 6 or 7 sacks and a couple, 9 tackles.
For sure.
Because if not, the Raiders can get out of that deal next year for next to nothing. I guarantee they will. Right?
You know what's funny, Papa T? My apologies, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off. Simmons, I have this feeling now he's going to go to Pittsburgh. They just lost their safety. If you look at that depth chart, they can use another safety, especially at the free safety position. I can see Justin Simmons going up there to Pittsburgh now. I think that may have been one of the reasons why they were okay with moving on from Minkah, bringing in Jalen Ramsey, and now maybe going to get Justin Simmons. And that would be just nasty if Pittsburgh did that. But once again, they're aging a secondary. Jalen Ramsey, 30, right? Justin Simmons is over 30. I mean, shit, Darius Slay is like 94, 95. He's brought him in on a 1-year deal, I believe, from Philly, right? So I'm just saying, but I can see him going there now because they can use some safety help. So, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
No. I mean, look, the thing I've been wondering the whole offseason is what is the deal with Justin Simmons? Like
I don't know. I don't know if he's asking for too much money. I don't know if that down year last season in Atlanta is not helping his cause. I don't know, bro. I really don't, because Simmons at one point was one of the best defenders in football, not just at his position, but one of the best defenders in football. So I really don't know. Maybe he's asking for too much money.
I can also see a guy like Marcus Williams too, like the former Baltimore Raven.
Yeah.
I can see him being a guy too, right? He hasn't, there's been like a little decline there.
Yeah,
but he was a pretty damn good safety, right? And he's a guy that they've seen in their division.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And look, man, with the Steelers now, you got a situation where they can play a lot of press man. You got Joey Porter Jr. You know, I mean,
they got a ton of talent out there.
They definitely do, man. And you got Jalen Ramsey. It's going to be like a no-fly zone there.
Yeah. Well, Smokey, this is the thing, right? It seems as though they're trying right now. They're working on still trying to get that TJ Watt extension done. I know he's upset about, the timing and all that. But one thing you can sell TJ Watt on now is we're going all in to win the Super Bowl. The same thing with Simmons. Yo, if you come here, we may not have as much money as these other teams can offer you, but we can offer you an opportunity to go all in this season to win a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, they had a really solid draft. Then you bring in the likes of Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey. The one thing that Pittsburgh has in their corner is, hey, we're going all in. Simmons, do you want to win one? Sign a 1-year deal with us. Maybe you can find another deal elsewhere next few seasons and walk off into the promised land and retire a Super Bowl champ. I'm just saying here, they can at least sell that dream of a Super Bowl. Do I think that Pittsburgh is going to do or win it? No, I don't. I think that Baltimore is still the best team in that division by a long shot. I don't care if you add a 55-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and you go pay DK Metcalf all this money. I don't really give a shit. I still think that they're second in that division. So, but once again, you just never know. Maybe Simmons buys the dream by Mike Tomlin. He's a player's coach. And Tomlin might be able to speak it into existence. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look. The only thing about all of this, right? It sounds too good. It makes too much sense for it to happen, right? Like when you talk about TJ Watt, that's going to be an issue, bro. TJ, I don't think TJ Watt really gives a damn whether they're competing. They always expect to compete. TJ Watt wants his freaking money. Yeah. This is a guy that routinely is overlooked, because of Myles Garrett and because of Max Crosby and because of other people, right? TJ Watt is a guy that if he don't get his due, he damn sure gonna want his money. You're gonna have to top what Max Crosby and Myles Garrett got to make TJ Watt happy, I think. Because I think he views himself above both of those guys. I don't think he's gonna take a back seat to them in the salary situation. So that's gonna be a big issue, bro. And the thing is that you gotta look at, okay, what did they do at running back too?
Real quick, I gotta put this. Oh, they got our guy Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, he's a rookie, so
But I mean, rookie running backs are phenomenal these days. Like, we got Ashton
Jensen. He didn't get our rookie. It's a little
no.
Yeah.
But once again, Caleb Johnson was a top 5 running back in that class, and they still have Jaylen Warren as well, another guy who is a phenomenal option for him in the past.
So they're gonna run the ball. So let's see how it goes, man.
Got to put this out there, man. Chris Haynes just tweeted that my Sacramento Kings, this is the weirdest offseason in the world for my Kings. They're just kingsing shit up right now. Kings arrange meetings with both Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook. Kings are looking to acquire both. Well, we need a backup point guard as well. So I'm assuming Schroeder would start, Brody would come off the bench, and then we'll have, some firepower coming off the bench. I don't know. It sounds like Brody wants to come home to California. So that may help in our favor, but it's going to be interesting. Free agency just started, you guys, for all you basketball fans, 7 minutes ago. So we should start seeing some moving and shaking here soon.
DeAndre Ayton to the Knicks, baby. Come on.
Oh, he's going to the Lakers. They paid him out in Portland just for him to go to LA. I'm telling you now. It's done, bro.
Listen, he's going to have all the strippers and porn stars he wants out in LA.
Yeah, facts.
DeAndre Ayton is he is Zion Williamson when it comes to that, with his weight under control. That's the only thing.
Without all the talent.
Yeah.
Smokey, Sack doing some Sack shit. This is facts, bro. It's facts. Alec, yeah, man. But once again, you pair him with Warren. That's a nice 1-2 punch out there. I mean, and they, they're still trying to build that old line up. And look, Aaron's not going to throw the ball 50 times a game. He's 40 plus years old, so they're definitely going to run the football. So we'll see what we got going on. But get some more questions in, you guys. Once again, we were going over the Jalen Ramsey trade. For those who are living under a rock today, he was traded to the Miami Dolphins for Minkah Fitzpatrick. They also swapped late round picks, a 7th and a 5th. Also, Jonnu Smith was in that trade as well, heading to Pittsburgh, giving Aaron Rodgers another weapon at the tight end position, coming off of a Pro Bowl year. So interesting what Pittsburgh is doing. It looks as though, they're getting older, but they're going all in. And we'll see what this thing looks like, come week one. But I got to see this live and live in color wasted before I really buy into Pittsburgh really like being a threat. You get what I'm saying? Like,
bro, be that as it may, bro, I can give a damn whether they're a threat, right? What I care about is, are we a threat, right? And are we going to do anything else?
Talk that Raiders shit.
Do for the rest of the offseason. Because, like, look, bro, wait, hold on. What the F is this? But sorry, I hope you didn't hear that.
Oh, we did.
You did? That's all right. But no, I'm scrolling down, right? And I'm looking at a list of remaining free agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Russell Douglas is still out there.
Would love it.
Coop's still out there. Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. Mike Hilton is the guy.
That neck, I think that there's a lot of concerns about that neck injury with Asante Samuel. Him being with youth being on his side wasted, there's no reason that a guy with that much potential should still be on the streets. I think a ton of teams are worried about that injury. But go ahead, my bad, brother.
The shoulder injury, right?
I thought it was his neck.
Yeah, I have it as a shoulder injury.
Okay,
I'm going to pull up his injury tree. He's 25 years old, man. He's got a lot of quickness, too, which is a little crazy that he's still out there.
Yeah.
But you got Mike Hilton, Keenan Allen, I'm not interested in. You even got some guard help out there, guys like Brandon Sheriff. I mean, this is a guy that was a big free agent addition to the Redskins back in the day. 33 years old. Zadarius Smith's still out there. 32 years old. Matthew Judon is a guy that I wanted to. I spoke about this last week. I want the Raiders to take a look at him and Jedrick Willis too, man. This is a guy that was taken pretty damn high in the draft, man.
Definitely was
2020 top 10.
But Willis, I think, is taking the year off. I think he's trying to get healthy. He's been dealing with some injuries. Look that up. I think that he's actually taking the year off.
Yeah, let's look it up, man.
I'm gonna see
a little bit. Julian Blackmon is still available.
He's to sit out this whole season.
Okay, so let's take him off. Simmons, of course, is out there. Kazir White is still out there. Will High Stakes Hernandez, 30 years old.
You're very familiar with him up there with the Giants, right?
Yeah. Man. they think he's tough. And also, the last but not least, I want to ask you about this because this comes all the way back. It's always in a Raider perspective, right? What do you think about bringing in Von Miller as a utility pass rusher? His relationship with Max, being brought in on the cheap, and last year, even though not having the greatest year, he had 6 sacks in 2024, bro.
I'll say this: did he have 6 last year? I thought he had 0.
He had
0.
He had 6 sacks in 2024, bro. He had 0 the year before.
Okay, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm just not saying that you're right.
Bro, look, he had 13 solo tackles, 6 sacks.
You're right, 6. Okay, so the year prior, you're right.
Right, what the F is wrong with you, Graphk?
So he played in 13 games last year, still had 6 sacks. The year prior played in 12 games, had 0, and then even before that, 8, 5, 4.5, 9.5. So he was out there too at the sack summit with Max this past week. Pause if necessary, and he was out there. He was out there.
But they need to start calling that something else, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, the sack summit. Yeah.
It's crazy.
But his knowledge was on full display. You can see the difference when he was talking, even with all the other superstars around the younger guys.
The dean of the pass rush.
When Von speaks, you fucking listen. And
That's
I think
the dean of the pass rush.
Yes,
no question.
And I think that if Max could have his way, once again, I know how close they are. Von is from Dallas. Max grew up out here in Dallas. I went to Max Crosby's camp a few seasons ago. Von came through and kicked it with everybody. And they were like this, like very, very tight. And I know that how much that he looks up to Von Miller. So would I love to bring him in and have him play in clear passing downs? Definitely. I would love to have Von Miller and determine, as long as he's healthy and he still could. He's 36 years old? I think he's like 36.
Yeah. But
he's getting up there in age. But we definitely could use another depth piece. I would definitely bring him in and have him come in on some third downs, get some NASCAR packages together and have him get out to the quarterback. Why not?
Well, I mean, and more so than that, having that vet for a guy like a Tyree Wilson or Malcolm Kuntz, right?
Yeah.
A guy that, because with Max, right? Max is going to help you, right? But Max is on the field so much. Max has got to do Max's job.
Yes.
You have a guy like Von Miller that's not playing all the time, that when you're taking a blow, he might be sitting next to you. He might give you something that you can, kind of like grow as a player from. Yeah. I would love it. Now, there are a lot of people that talk about Von Miller, him having a DV situation a few years ago. I really didn't want to bring it up. Yeah. And the Raiders kind of not bringing in guys that have things like that going on. We don't know the ins and outs of it, but from what I understand, it was dismissed.
Yes.
So I'd have no problem with bringing Von.
I think that he would have no problem being a Raider either. You get a chance to play with Max Crosby for the first time in your career. But for the first time in your career, you get an opportunity to not get killed with your taxes. I mean, you played in New York. You played in California. You know what I mean? Colorado. Like, you get an opportunity to go play in Vegas where there's no state tax on the way out of you. Why not go get all your money? Go get all your money. And once again, what do you think that would look like? Is there any market value for Von Miller? I don't know what that would. I mean,
what you gotta do is you gotta look at. We gotta set it right. So you look at what he made last year and subtract. Right. So I would say, because I think he made like 6 or 7 million last year. He made 6 or 7 million.
Because he was signed to a 6-year, $120 million contract with the Bills in 2022. So he was still on that contract.
Let's do a little spot track. Von Miller contract, right? So there's got to be a depreciation of that. There's got to be a depreciation of that, right? So spot track got done. There we go. So Von Miller he signed for that. He had a $20 million average salary. Let's look at how it was. This is a bunch of bull crap.
While you bring that up, let me bring this in. Alec, Jadeveon Clowney would definitely be a great option for us as well. And at this point too, Jadeveon can still play the run. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have an issue when he's a lot younger than Von Miller also. Jermaine says, man, our luck, Ramsey would have got hurt. I believe in Cousin Pete on coaching our young pups. Salute to my guy, Jermaine Williams on the $5 smackaroonie.
My man called him Cutting Pete.
Cutting Pete.
Hell don't know about no Cutting Pete, man.
Cutting Pete.
What they know about Cutting Pete, man.
Yeah, I don't think too many people in here know what's going on with Cutting Pete.
They don't know nothing about no Cutting Pete. They ain't know nothing about no Cutting Pete.
But there's nowhere that says any market value on him. Once again, he's 36. He just turned 36. He's been in the league for 14 seasons. He'll be a future Hall of Famer at some point. But I just don't know what that looks like. There's nowhere on over the cap. I mean,
so what you got to do is you got to take his numbers, right, and you got to put them, where other people that had the same level of production that he had last year, which is not a whole lot, right?
No, it's not at all.
6 sacks and 13 tackles, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you look at, like say for instance, a guy like Joey Bosa, right, who replaced him, he's got a $12 million contract, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a guy that's a lot younger, right? So you want to go even lower than that, right? You want to go and look at like a guy like, I mean, like a guy like a Kyle Van Noy balled out last year. Kyle Van Noy, $9 million.
I think 6 million should. I think 6 million is like that range,
bro. I think it's even lower than that. It might be 4.5, 5. But now he's Von Miller, so $6-7 million will probably be the range, right?
And you could throw some incentives in there.
It's very incentive laden contract.
Yeah.
Look, man. To me, I'm with it, man. I'm with it, especially because you don't really know what you have out of Malcolm Kuntz.
Yeah.
We think we know.
Oh no, and let's just say this: we've both heard great things coming out of OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Max has spoke highly of Kuntz. Up to this point, it seems as though he's locked in right now. He wanted to be a Raider. There was other places where he could have went and made a lot more money. But you're right. We still don't know. That was a devastating knee injury. That is tough to get over. You know what I mean? So hopefully, man, Malcolm is ready to go and he becomes, that top dog that we know he could be.
So, all right. So with Buffalo, he had 8.5 million guaranteed last year.
Mm-hmm. Once again, that was that big contract that he had, though. Yeah,
that was the big contract, right? So, like once again, I'm thinking if you were at 8.5 million, I think you'd play $6.5 million. I don't see any reason why not. I don't see any reason. I don't see any reason why not. You know, I mean, Von Miller, you know, been in the league since, you know, 2011, second overall pick behind Cam Newton that year. I mean, you know, this could be his little swan song, man.
Yeah.
You know, and when you continue to play, right? Two things you want to do is you want to be a part of something special. You want to win, right? Because he's won a Super Bowl. He's done it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're still playing, you probably want to sock away as much money as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I would view it, right? So not having that state income tax is a big plus for the Raiders, man.
Definitely. Real quick, man, salute to the chat, you guys. We went over the whole Jalen Ramsey trade, Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. We talked about the Dolphins' interest in our tight end, Michael Mayer. Omar Kelly of the Miami Herald went out there and said that he's been a target for them for a while, and he's someone to keep an eye on. Also, it sounds as though Miami may be interested in bringing in Kyle Pitts. So it looks as though they're trying to bring in a replacement for Jonnu Smith. So that is something to monitor moving forward. I myself do not want to move him. It seems as though Vinny B put it on Twitter that the Raiders have no interest in moving on from Michael Mayer. And once again, he was heavily involved in the offense with Chip Kelly early on thus far before training camp. So it sounds like they have a big plan for Michael Mayer moving forward, even with Brock Bowers in the building. I want your opinion on this too, Ace. And me and Hammer talked about this earlier. People are making this shit bigger than what it needs to be. Pause if necessary. The Geno Smith situation. Did you get a chance to watch the whole flag football?
Bro, look, I seen some dweebs on Twitter trying to, you know, and no disrespect, but all disrespect to Dove. Like, man, get the F out of here, bro.
That's a troll account, bro. That's
a troll. What a clown.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen other people who call themselves, you know, Raider guys. You know, look, let me tell you something. If you are a person who participates in a sport where there are men, right? We talk shit to each other.
Yes.
That is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, like, man, I mean, my God, have we gotten so soft as a country where you can't talk a little shit? And yo, I can't stand people who try to like put people in their place.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, man, if he want to talk his shit about how much money he make, get F up out of here. He can talk as much shit as he wants to.
I mean, look, our flag football game, we talked all kind of shit about Wasted. He was a terrible quarterback, and he took all of it.
Yo, and listen, we talked all kinds of shit about your broke back ass when you couldn't even yo, young broke back ass, man.
Swapping teams and shit.
Yeah, man, with them skinny ass shoes.
Wait.
Look, it was a mistake of mine too, because I bought them.
You brought me though. You said, "Yo, I found these shoes at the out. I'm gonna get you a pair."
Yeah,
we both wear them.
That's the reason why I couldn't run, because they weren't even, bro. They were lifting shoes. They were them shoes you're supposed to just lift weights in. I didn't know that. So neither one of us could run. It was crazy. It was a bad batch. We shouldn't have played. But yo, you were a terrible player too. At least I threw a few touchdowns. You're a bum.
Did you? I know you threw about 4 picks.
No. I threw a couple. The game was tied. It was tied 21-21. I threw a couple.
Yeah, I don't remember. I played on both teams, so I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Regardless, I won. That's all I know.
Yeah. Either which way, right?
You know what I mean. So,
but look, at the end of the day, we talk shit. Don't come up here and try to make it like it's a thing. It's a bad look for Geno. Get the F up out of here.
Yeah, I love that Max came to his defense today too, because Geno was going back and forth with a few Raider fans and a few Seahawks fans that were killing him. And Max came in and said, man, fuck anybody that is trying to say anything. Don't worry about none of these goofy motherfuckers. In a nutshell, that's what he said. You know what I'm saying?
Football,
like,
bro. It's football. That's what we do. You hoop, you talk trash, bro. As long as nobody got that ass beat.
Bro, what did I call you? Didn't I call you or send you a text about son's last flag football game where I said I think I might be going to jail type shit? Like, bro, like it happens. It's football. This is what we do. Salute to Geno Smith. I love that he's even competitive when it comes to flag football or whatever the hell was going on. I love it. So people need to stop making so much. We live in such a soft ass world now. You know, I didn't realize how soft this shit was when I look back at how we grew up and the shit that we were able to say, and there was no cancel culture and all that. This shit is crazy, bro.
It's crazy, bro. Crazy. Like first of all, and then a lot of times it's who does it, right? Like it's Geno Smith. He's got to be humble, right? But say for instance, Tom Brady was at a flag football game. Oh, he's got that dog in him. Look at Brady.
Yeah.
Get the F up out of here, man. Like I get sick. That's part of the reason why I defended Shedeur Sanders so vehemently. Because why does he gotta be humble for you to feel comfortable?
Was that the word of the day? Repeat that.
Vehement. The wasted word of the day. Vehement. But look, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. This tampon culture, I'm sick of that shit. Yeah. Let men be men, and if you can't take it, stay out of that world.
Yeah,
like stay out of that world. If you can't take it, stay out of that world. Like, don't come down to the playground when people are playing ball and when jokers are talking trash to each other. You're like, oh God, my vagina hurts. I can't take it. Get the F up out of here with that crap.
Yo, salute to everybody here in the building. Salute the Freight Train. My 47th birthday is this coming Thursday. Happy early birthday to our guy, Freight Train.
My guy, Freight, looking like a dirty bag of laundry. About here, man.
Out there looking like Popeye Jones and shit.
Yeah, man. You remember Freight from the flag football game, man. Freight is my guy, man.
Yo, get the F up out of here with that crap. Salute the low. So vehemently, Mr. Look, I've heard it before, but it just sounds so much different because Wasted is always using these. Give me another word for your word. Using these.
Well, I try to just elevate your vernacular, man. That's all, bro. Look, but
vernacular elevation.
Yo, bro, it's just funny, man. Right? Like, you got people like this bum, and I know this is one of our other followers, right? Somebody that has my picture up there called me both F the Knicks, gout walks. Get that F up out of here. You are about to be unceremoniously blocked and sent to the gulags. You are lucky I'm not running the chat.
F the Knicks. No, you're not. Talk that shit. I'm about to give him a wrench. Talk.
You bastard.
Talk.
Oh, man, I can't wait till I am the Bears up and he's getting the wrench too. He's talking, yeah, I am the Bears getting the wrench.
I tried to flame my Vans yesterday.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, that was crazy, man. Them Vans are clean, man. Look, I am not a Van wearing gentleman myself.
He said we don't wear them in Cali. I said, bro, I got them in the Bay. I literally bought them in the Bay.
Like, I thought, I'm gonna be real with you. I remember Vans being a thing in the 80s because, like, the skateboarders used to rock.
Yeah.
Like the Bones Brigade, Tony Hawk and Lance Mountain and all of them.
Yes.
Right? And it became a thing. And then I remember the Pack, that group, the Pack,
yes,
my Vans. They're from Cali.
Yes, the Bay Area. Bro, I literally bought them shits in San Leandro at the outlets. So come on, man. Let's stop the cap. Salute to the chat, you guys. Get a few more questions in. We're coming up on an hour right now. Get a few more questions. Salute to Zahn in the building, man. I haven't seen my boy Zahn. The Vans are the worst shoes in the world. You know what? Let me take back exactly what I just said. F you, Zahn. Somebody block Zahn. Get him out of here. Get him out of here, in the words of Wasted.
Nah, listen, Zahn, you're all right with me, Zahn. Great and powerful on.
The great and powerful. Oh, shit, the gout god is here. This is facts, Raider God. Salute to my guy. Salute to my guy. Man, it's severely underrated, bro. And they're the most comfortable shoe outside of New Balances in the world. This is facts.
Yeah. I mean, look, for me, right, that's not my cup of tea, right? But I've seen them being worn in a clean manner, in a clean way, right? You know, it's just, for me, I'm more of a J's, running sneaker, high-end sneaker, maybe a Gucci, a little Louis sneaker. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna mute this motherfucker, man. Should we go with this?
I'm appalled. I'm shocked. See, look, this guy paused. I'm clutching my
yo. Hey, real quick, Sean, I have to say this. He says, why can't Jacoby get his flowers for being the true number one? Because he's 28 years old, coming off of his first 1,000-yard receiving season. That's why. I'm not here to take any flowers away from Jacoby. I'm one of his biggest supporters. Wasted is as well. He had a phenomenal year for us. He does all the dirty work, great route runner, great blocker, not taking anything away from Jacoby. Very versatile, plays on both sides, plays in the slot. You can be an emergency quarterback if you need him to, right? Like, there's no knock to him, but it's just, once again, he's 28 years old, coming off of his first 1,000-yard receiving year. So there has to be some questions surrounding him. What does that payday look like? If you're paying him like a true number one, that money gonna look a little different. If you're paying him like a true number one. Now, if you're paying him like what he has done up to this point,
See, there's a difference, right? When we start talking about these theoretical scenarios, like, are you paying him like a true number one? You don't got to pay him like a true number one, right?
True number ones get paid $30+ million.
True number ones are guys that you don't have to debate whether they're that. Yeah. Guys like Terrell Owens, and I know I'm going back, even Devontae, right? You don't gotta wonder whether he's the number one receiver. He is. He is that. Yeah. He is I and I is E, right? Mm-hmm. But what they need to do for the Raiders is pay him as their number one.
I like that.
So that scale of pay is a lot different. So that scale looks about like 18 million.
18 to 20 million.
Yeah. That, and pay him like your number one.
Yeah.
Prioritize that. So maybe the next time
like that was a bar. You don't need to pay him like a number one. You need to pay him like your number one, which is more money than Dante, which he's on a rookie deal. Jack Besh, Trey Tucker, all these guys are on rookie deals. Just take care of him. Just take care of him. Salute to Alec, man. Is Palomalu ready for prime time? To be determined. He's been consistently getting better. I think now with Pete Carroll in the building, that USC connection, if anybody can unlock his full potential, it's Pete, right? The 6'4", fast, big body kind of, safety, plays versatile as well. Put him in a nickel. This could be a big year for him. If it's not, I don't know what we're going to truly get him with
happy trails, then. Happy trails, because look, man, it just becomes. We always talk about coaching being in the right scenario, situation. If this person, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. It just gets to a point where you have to produce. It's a man's league, bro.
Real quick, Graphk like a buff pool stick. Freight train with a haymaker. I had to put that on screen. I actually seen that in the chat and was like,
that's hilarious.
That
man.
Needs some extra attention, man. I like how you put both this. I see what you want, Freight train. You're a real California motherfucker. You're supposed to stick with 2 C's. Salute to my guy, man. Wasted is a GM in an alternate universe.
That'd be nice, right?
Matt says Pete's going to coach up RDB. This is facts. That's why I'm really excited about Darian Porter in year one. And Stokes, if he can stay healthy,
I think Stokes is the biggest steal this offseason. I mean, this is a guy that has a hell of a lot of talent. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of the guys, him and Jacorian, they need to just stay healthy. I think if they stay healthy, man, you can have a little LLB situation going on, man.
Yeah.
You can have a little LLB.
Grizzlies just signed JJJ, Triple J, their guy. 5-year max extension, so he's sticking around. They also went and signed Santi Aldama, forward, 3 years, 52.5. And then the Rockets are signing Finney Smith just recently with the Lakers. 4-year, $53 million deal. So the Rockets are going all in as well. So interesting. And both our teams have not done absolutely shit.
Bro, CGR, why the F are you putting? What do those eggplants represent?
He's horny, bro.
No, I think I don't know, bro. Bro, what does it represent?
Jaren Jackson Jr., $240 million deal. Holy
bro, shit. The money in the NBA is ridiculous, bro. And you look, this the messed up part of all of this stuff. All of this new deal is gonna kill the NBA. It's gonna effectively kill the NBA. I'm telling you right now. The NBA is headed for an apocalypse of such, right? Because one, you have a situation where you have young players coming into the league that aren't hungry because of the NIL.
Yeah.
NIL, you got kids that are making $8 to $10 million in college, right? They're already yeah, absolutely zero highlights.
No, there was one. Cause it was Andy kicking a 30-yard field goal.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, definitely Andy.
We got one highlight out of the content.
Andy, and then B going up and catching a errant football that I threw.
Yeah,
he snatched one out of the sky.
Yeah.
B. It was a joker on our team and a running back. Man, I forgot, bro. Man, he's fast as hell.
Is that the dude that won MVP?
No.
Okay.
That was a dude that looked like the guy that looked like Stan from Eminem. But I'm talking about it was a brother, man, that was fast as shit, man. He was running hard.
I know you're talking about. Kings are also planning to meet with Malcolm Brogdon. We're trying any way we can to get a goddamn point guard right now. Simple says that's why I run my own programs. Can always tell the truth without worrying about soft ass crybabies or gatekeepers. Shut me down. I don't know what that.
AF, I don't know what you're talking to or referring to, but I will say this, man. Yo, keep being a classic dissenter. Like, go against the grain. You go against the grain. That is what we do over here, man. We are a counterculture Raiders podcast. We go against the grain like a mofo. I love it, man.
Yeah, it was the field goal before the game. It was actually before the game, and I bet Andy $20, and I never paid him for that shit. So
yeah. Graphk is the Welsher of bets. This guy never pays any bet. It's actually disgusting. But look, yo, my man Robin Cisneros said, "I'm mad I missed that game." You're a bum, Cisneros.
Well, we're like, you too buff to play football.
I know. They like some chewed up bubble gum. Get the F up out here.
Rudy says, yo,
my dog, Rudy, man.
Salute to my guy Rudy on a $10 smackaroonie, man. Salute to all the mods in the building as well. Freight Train says, my Warriors need to do something. Yeah, you need to send Minkah over to the Kings from Malik Monk, man. Let's go ahead. Swap him. Swap him.
You tripping, man. Yeah, star, bro.
Nah, man, Malik Monk, man, he's a six man, bro. Like
he's not talking about Malik Monk. I'm talking about
give me 22 years old.
That's a future star right there, man.
Salute to Jermaine. My Raiders got to do something because my Sixers could be cheeks. Oh, they're gonna be cheeks for sure, Jermaine. Yeah. Hey, join basketball hell with me, brother. Come on down.
Yeah, man. And please, everybody keeps talking about the Knicks need a big man. Don't nobody need Joel Embiid with his tender foot. The F up out of here. We don't need this guy. Get him out of here.
I don't know why Roy said this, but I have to mention it. A condom full of walnuts.
Yeah, that has. I would have folded, wasted like a wallet. Yo, listen.
This is facts, bro. Facts, Rob. Facts. I'm with you, bro.
You definitely would fold me. Listen, you ever dream you can fold me? You better wake up and apologize. I would have had to, instead of messing around with y'all and being the lovable guy. None of that's ever happened. I ain't never been folded.
Yo. Let me ask you, man, what do you – I mean, there's nothing really going on these next 3 weeks. We got the 17th Rooks report to training camp, the 22nd the Vets report to training camp. I mean, do you think there's any motion, anything going on in regards to our Raiders leading up to training camp? I mean, with this new Michael Mayer news, I don't think anything leads to Michael Mayer being gone. But is there anything that you see can happen with our Raiders leading up to training camp?
No, because I think it would be almost – unless they already see something that is a red circle, which I don't think. So I think that they want to see what they have. Mm-hmm. And I think most teams are on that same sheet of music, right? Some of these free agents that are floating around out there, they're going to wait and see what they got in the building. And if there's a glaring need or there's a gap or they need some veteran help, because they can see that once the pads get on. Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up real quick too before we get out of here. This is how ESPN right now has our depth chart leading into training camp. And I want to ask your take on this. Let me see, get this off the screen after Wasted gets folded up like a wallet.
Man, listen, Rob, listen, all them weights ain't gonna help that chin, bro. Right now, I done beat up many a muscle bound many in my day.
Yo,
there you go.
Do they have it right here?
And that boy face looking like raw meat.
Gino 1, 8-2, Cam Miller 3, Carter Bradley 4. There's really no question marks here, right?
There's no question.
Genty, Mostert, McCormick, Zamir White.
Yeah, I think that's boilerplate right there.
Okay. Jacoby, this is one side of the field at the wide receiver position. They have Jacoby, Trey, and Dante as our 3 starters right now, which I think will end up being Jacoby in the slot, Tuck on the outside, Thornton on the outside as well. What do you think about that with Besh and Tommy Malott as those guys that'll get a ton of playing time regardless? But I don't know about Tommy Malott at this point. I think right now they're working him in as special teams, but Besh is going to get a ton of work.
Yeah, what do you think I think that's pretty much exactly what you want, because the thing with Dante Thornton Jr. what he presents is something you can't teach. Yeah, he presents a window to throw the football that there's nobody else on his roster that can give you. You have to try to have that guy out there, especially with Geno Smith being a guy that threw a lot of interceptions in the red zone. He has a terrific red zone. And even with Jack Besh, I think with Jack Besh, I think what's going to happen is if he can get you're not going to start, but you're going to get just as many touches, so it's like you're starting.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think Jack Bech is going to play either Trey Tucker off this roster or he's going to play Jacoby Myers off this roster.
Okay, I think they really brought him in as that Jacoby replacement, and to be determined. Once again, I would love to keep Jacoby around, but I think that they both possess the same skill set, and Bech is a lot younger. You have him on a rookie deal. You invested heavily into him, using a second round pick on him. I think it makes a bunch of sense that they're going to have him as a future starter for us. Right here, you look at that O-line: Colton, Parham, JPJ, Alex Kappa, DJ Glaze. I know you're going to have one change here. You have Caleb Rogers starting at right guard, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But other than that, is there anything to question outside of that?
There's nothing to question here. See, the only the funny thing, and let me say that real quick. The thing that I'm wondering is what's going to happen with Bear Munford.
Well, let me say this: he's been getting a ton of burn at guard, and Glaze is clear cut the right tackle. He's a starting right tackle.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what that means. If they move him to guard, maybe they look at Dalton Wagner as the backup right tackle. I don't know, or they try to work Grant out on the right side. But it sounds like they're gonna kind of Munford's gonna be a versatile guy for him to work across the O-line.
Yeah, I think so too. Now there are a lot of people that have Jordan Meredith starting over Dylan Parham. I don't.
No.
I think Dylan Parham healthy is definitely going to get the snaps. He's a guy that the Raiders brass, and not this iteration of that, but he's a third round pick, and he's one of those guys. It's weird to judge him because the eye test tells you something different than the numbers do.
Yeah,
I think this is the year where you're going to make that delineation of is he hurt or is it just kind of smoke and mirrors a little bit, kind of like Andre James. He's the new Andre James.
I think with this scheme, it's going to be a little bit more tailor-made to his skill set. I think he'll be fine there at left guard in between your two best offensive linemen in Colton Miller and JPJ. So that's definitely going to help him. Pause if necessary. So let's look at the defensive line here. Max is definitely your clear-cut starter. Christian Wilkins, we have no idea. Adam Butler, Malcolm Kuntz. But Lecky Fotu has been a guy that's been getting number one, team reps early on. Once again, no pads on. There's nothing to really see here in terms of that. But for him to be the guy that's been there, getting those reps, he's a force against the run. I think he was hurt last year. Kind of bounced around the league a little bit, played for the Arizona Cardinals, played for the Jets. Now he's home with the Raiders, Bay Area guy. What do you think about this? If Wilkins isn't ready to go and Lecky Fotu ends up winning that starting job, how do you feel about that D-line as a whole? Because you look at this on paper, you're like, Max, Wilkins, Kuntz, Butler, this is going to be one of the best defensive lines in football. Then you take Wilkins out and you add Lecky Fotu in, and you're like, well, I don't know what this thing is going to be. How do you look at that? I
look at that as he's a placeholder. You got two guys that were drafted and very highly thought of, and I think Tonka Hemingway will be the guy. Because Tonka Hemingway is very athletic. He brings something to the table that's a little bit different. He can get up the field, get after the quarterback, and he does it all. He plays a run well. He was really, really good. And you see, you got to understand something. The one thing about John Spytek and Pete Carroll, they drafted players that played a lot of snaps in college. So I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of having rookies sit on the show. They're going to play these rookies. Yeah. They're going to play these rookies.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't think, Lecky Fotu is a guy that's going to keep them from playing.
No, not at all.
These rookies will be playing like the Dante Thornton stuff and the Jack Bech stuff. These guys will be getting.
There's going to be a lot of rotation here.
Wasted. A lot of
is going to keep guys fresh. Rob Leonard's going to keep guys fresh. I agree with you with that. So I agree. This is your bread and butter here, the linebacker position. And right now they have the three starters: Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, and Tommy Eichenberg. How do you feel about that with Devin White and Cody Lindenberg as the backups?
I have Devin White starting. I think Devin White is going to have a phenomenal year. People forget Devin White is 27 years old. He just needs a situation where the coaching staff believes in his talent. Devin White is a guy that was damn near an all-pro level talent, and then he kind of fell off the face of the earth. And then you got a team like the Eagles where, a very talented team trying to win a Super Bowl. I think Devin White is going to be put in the best possible situation. I have Tommy Eichenberg playing and starting. And I have a Landon Roberts starting. Now, I know we brought in Jermaine Pratt, but Jermaine Pratt is a guy that
Pratt is starting, Wasted. You're crazy if you think he's not starting.
Look, this is the thing. I think it's between Landon Roberts and Jermaine Pratt are the two guys that are going to have to platoon at the same position. Because look, man, Devin White Devin White has a hell of a lot of talent, man. I'm telling you.
We all know what he can do. We've seen it. You know what I mean?
I think Devin White is going to be a leader for this football team, and I think he's going to have a resurgence for this team. You know, Jermaine Pratt, people talk about, and you know, you could say I'm crazy, but Jermaine Pratt is a guy that you got to look at the way he played last year, and you got to wonder, right? Was it the Cincinnati defense, or was it him? You know, this is a guy that was pretty bad.
It was a little bit of both, but he was top 10 in tackles last season.
Yeah, but you got to look at that and look at, you know, the way he covered. Like, it's not
chat. Got him.
You got to look at the way he covers. You got to look at the way he covers.
Yeah, Devin White may not even make this roster, man.
Yo, I beg to differ. I think John Spytek saw what Devin White was in Tampa Bay. I think that, you know, he has people that believe in him. I think Devin.
I agree, and I hope he makes this roster, but I don't have him starting over any of these guys.
Yeah, I do, and I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people say, you know, they brought in Pratt, and I like Pratt, right? But I really, and this is just from, you know, the way Patrick Graham plays his players. I believe that you're gonna have 4 linebackers that play, you know, like kind of an equal amount of snaps in a sense. I don't think you're going to have a situation where you just have these 3 linebackers that always play. I think it depends on what formation that they're in, but I think Devin White is going to be a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think he's going to get a lot more snaps, and I think he's definitely going to make this roster.
I just see Devin White more as a third down guy to go get after the quarterback. He's going to be a pass rusher, you know, to me. I don't think that he's going to play starter minutes over the likes of Jermaine Pratt.
I mean, when has he ever really been a pass rusher? Right, you got to look at it from that prism. I mean, when he was in Tampa Bay, when he was at his best, he was a Mike, right? And you know, he is a guy that, and I know he's been a liability in pass coverage, right? But most of these guys have. Now let's start pulling up some of these numbers here, right? Because he hasn't played a whole lot in the last few years. Like Pratt,
he's dealt with some injuries. You know, he hasn't had a really phenomenal season since 2021, but 2021 and 2022, he played all 17 games. In 2023, he played in 14, and he started in 13 as well. But, I mean, he's been a decent pass rusher. I mean, in 2020, he had 9 sacks. He had 3.5 in 2021, 5.5 in 2022, 2.5 in 2023, 0 last year between Philly, which he didn't play a snap for him, and then Houston in 7 games. So I still believe that he can get out the quarterback. I mean, he has 23 sacks in his career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, he does. But I just look with Pratt, man. I have questions about his ability to cover and him being a liability in coverage, right? And then, you know, look, they brought him in. It was a great move. That, you know, but I think they're gonna platoon that linebacker.
Yo, all the boys are like I said, Pratt's gonna look like prime Mike Ditka with the linebackers we ran out year after year.
prime Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka was a tight end.
Well, I think he. I know what he meant. He's going to look like a prime.
To Dick Buckets?
Yeah, I think he meant Dick Buckets.
Yeah, or Mike Singletary.
Or Mike, a mix of both of them, right? But I know what he meant. Salute to all aboard. My son said, hey, yo.
Yeah, I know Dick Buckets, right? That was the craziest name in football history, bro.
Yeah, but he meant Dick Buckets, though, for sure. Or a mix of Mike Singletary and, you know what he meant, but. Yes, and last year it was great to watch our guy go out there and smoke every record that Mike Ditka had at the tight end position.
Yeah, Brock Bowers. But then at the end of the day, right?
Dick Singletary. There you go, Gio.
Look, when we start talking about these records and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff, I don't put a lot of credence in it because they play more games now, right? One extra game. Yeah, it's one extra game. I mean, but it's not just one because Mike Ditka played in the 60s and stuff, bro. They weren't playing I think they playing 14 games back then.
You were 34 when it was. Let me know.
Yeah. I think they're playing like 14 games. Like that's why, like when they used to talk about when they talk about like when people broke O.J. Simpson's records, like O.J. Simpson had like 2,000 yards. I think was it like 12 or 14 games back then. LV was it 12 or 14 games back then?
You went to the oldest guy in the chat immediately.
LV or Tessa are one of them, right?
Look, our brother.
They remember, like, bro, it's not the same, bro. Like OJ did that shit, bro, in a lot less games when he had 2,000 yards, bro. Like that was different, bro. Like so I don't ever like to do. It was 12 games, So like, you come on, man.
I think you can agree here with the last of this depth chart at this point, right? It's Porter on one end, Eric Stokes on the other, Chin, Isaiah Pola-Mao, both starters at the safety spot, strong and free. And then you got Darnay Holmes as of right now as the nickelback, who I've been hearing really good things about up to this point. So, I mean, I think
that's where you go and make a move, right?
Well, remember they said that Thomas Harper's been getting some reps there as well. And then, you're going to get different looks. You're going to see Chin there. You'll see Pola-Mao there. You'll see a bunch of different moving and shaking there in the nickel. So, but I mean, I wasn't as excited about hearing Darnay Holmes, maybe the starting nickel. Once again, Mike Hilton would definitely be an upgrade over him immediately, but I think they're giving him a shot, man. And look, I'm not upset about it because there's going to be so much rotating there at that spot. So I'm not really too much worried about it.
Bro, Sam Webb is another guy too, man, that a lot of people count this guy out. He might be the new Amik Roberts, man.
Bro, he is the new Raider herpes, bro. He
just comes back just right when you think
is
going.
He is the Greg Olsen of cornerbacks.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous, man. It's like, man, Raiders, will you guys go out there and go get a prescription to stop the flare up of Sam Webb? What the F is going on here? Stop the flare up.
But you know what?
Of a Raider Nation.
I think that Patrick Graham just sees something in him, and he wants to keep developing him and trying to give him an opportunity to, try and flourish a little bit. I'm not upset, man. And look, they got him as a backup right there to Darnay. So I'm not upset about it. I mean, I don't see.
I like Sam Webb. I think a lot of people always just assume he's going to be cut. And then everybody always tells you, oh, who's coming on in camp? Sam Webb has looked great. It's like Amik Roberts all over again, man.
Yo, salute to everybody here in the building. As always, once again, coming up on an hour and a half. Thank you guys so much for pulling up on us as always. We'll make sure to make these more frequent. Waste has been busy. I've been busy with the family. We got a lot going on, but once again, football is right back in full effect here in about 2.5 weeks, you guys. So stay tuned. Once again, the Rooks, the 17th, the Vets, the 22nd. So stay tuned. We're going to have a ton to talk about. Salute the God family and Raiders for life. Wasted don't play, and we'll block that ass. Even while grilling some lake-caught bass. He is not biased or a troll or a witch. Come talking that trash and get gulagged like a bitch. Oh, he was rapping.
Yo, listen, lake-caught bass is insane.
Hold on. Let me put it in bars, though, because I butchered the whole shit. Wasted don't play, and he'll block that ass. Even while grilling some lake-caught bass. He is not biased, a troll, or a witch. Come talking that trash and gulag like a bitch.
Yo, that sound like these new battle rappers.
Yeah.
And then when he say, it get gulag like a bitch. Oh! Like super hot fire.
Yo, smack. Sign God Family and Raiders for Life.
Right
URL,
now.
come get our guy, God Family
First
and Raiders for Life.
Block captain.
Yo, but other than that, man, you got anything to say on the way out, brother?
Hey, nah, brother. Listen, man, you have a terrific week, everybody. There are things coming on the horizon. I just, like Graphk was saying, I don't see anything happening until they get out there and get in camp. So just stand pat. Things are going to be happening this year. I think that there's going to be some vets brought in, but I think they got to see what they got going on, man. That's all.
Yeah. Once again, man, we'll be back sometime this week, you guys. We'll do some members only shows as well. We're trying to put some things together special for the members. It's a lot going on. It's slow motion right now. A lot of the players also are kind of vacationing and getting away from football. Yeah. So we're working on some things, y'all. We're constantly around the clock trying to put things in play. Stay tuned. Once again, we will be active all week long. And salute to T. He says, Graphk and Waste the Show always go to. We appreciate you, my brother.
Great and powerful teaser, man. Leatherface himself.
Leatherface. Other than that, man, wipe them feet on the way out, you guys. Pay your bar tabs. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, we love every single one of y'all. We are outro.